Good evening and welcome to the campus of UW-Whitewater. I'm your host, Sam Matheny, and alongside me is my co-host, Matt Bruzis. Joining us now is our special guest, Austin Dowdall. But first, we ask you to please excuse our momentary interruption of sports from your regular daily schedule. Guys, let's get right into it. Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots are coming off a devastating loss to a division rival. The Buffalo Bills, after a Cam Newton fumble in the red zone, the Patriots are now 2-5. After losing future Hall of Famer Tom Brady in free agency, Belichick looked to continue his long success, but with a different quarterback. Without Tom Brady, is the Bill Belichick legacy over?
I don't think it is. This is a coach that has one of the greatest minds and has the ability to affect the game in ways we haven't seen before. He has won 6 Super Bowl championships, 9 conference titles, and 17 AFC East Division titles. He's doing it with, he's in complete new territory with a new offense, new quarterback, and weapons around Cam Newton that have been injured most of the season. And this is a defense that hasn't looked up to or what we have known the Patriots defense to be. And Bill Belichick still has a lot of coaching left in him, and I think that it would be too early to remiss him from the Patriots.
Yeah, I have to agree, Matt. Bill Belichick has a really great career. He even led the Browns to 11-5 way back in '96, and even look, he hasn't had a losing season since the year 2000. Us three obviously don't remember that. We were way too young. And this season's not over yet. I wouldn't even put it past Bill Belichick to get these Patriots over 500 and get them into that third spot, into the third wild card spot, into the playoffs.
Guys, I think what this team needs is a new coach. Honestly, for the last 20 years, people have been looking at the game plan and said, Bill Belichick, we kind of understand what goes on. But with Cam Newton, it's a little bit different. I don't think it's working as well as they could have it working. I think the teams have figured it out, so I think it's time's over.
Well, I don't think that's working, Sam. It's not that it's not working. It's because for 20 years, Bill Belichick's system has had Tom Brady, a quarterback who stands in there, steps up in the pocket, and does not leave the pocket. But now he has a running quarterback on his hands who can extend the play, get outside, and find people downfield. So I just think it's going to come to adjusting to the new style of play.
Yeah, and that's what I think they're going to go with and run with. Cam Newton is going to run the offense, and he's literally going to run the ball. They have a slew of running backs who have been healthy all season, and they're going to do that as a focal point. Bill Belichick is going to have to adapt to this new style of offense, and I think Josh McDaniels is going to have to go and coincide with him as well, because the Patriots have been in close games this season. They've lost 2 games that have been close, to Buffalo and Seattle when Cam Newton was stopped on the goal line. So this could be a turnaround for Bill Belichick in the later part of the season, because 7 teams do get into the playoff, and I think that there's still a great chance the Patriots can get in.
But you mentioned their losses to Seattle and Buffalo, but how did they lose those games? It was because Cam Newton can't punch it in the end zone when he's running the football, and I think that's why they need a coaching change.
Well, the thing is, Sam, Cam Newton doesn't have the materials around him to be as good like a team like Seattle with Russell Wilson. And even Bill Belichick, he even stressed that when he said, we just don't have the cap space anymore because we put it all down that get 3 Super Bowls, another Super Bowl appearance, and another AFC Championship appearance.
But isn't that the coach's fault, though? Because he's supposed to be bringing those players in. He's supposed to be developing the team chemistry with them. So wouldn't you think it'd be their fault?
Yeah, it is Bill Belichick's fault for not developing those players, but he is the type of guy that can bring this team back to the promised land and to be successful. He knows how to take away a team's #1 option, and he can do it really well. So I think this team can be successful in the future with Bill Belichick.
Next up, we will discuss the American League Central and the MLB. We'll be right back. Please excuse this commercial break.
Warhawks know what it takes to become champions. At the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, our student athletes pursue excellence with a determination that inspires everyone on campus. Warhawks are smart. Warhawks are strong. Warhawks value service. We prepare our student athletes for life after college. The University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. Come be part of the Warhawk family.
As an Army ROTC cadet at Whitewater, you have the opportunity to develop into a great leader while learning and applying the Army values to your everyday life. Within ROTC, you have the chance to travel overseas in the CULP program to train with other militaries, attend many elite Army schools such as Airborne and Combat Diver, and you have the opportunity to attend conferences and guest lectures by some of the Army's top-ranking officers. Our Warhawk cadets participate in many extracurricular activities, Division III sports, Greek life, intramural sports, among many other team building and community service events. Being a cadet at Whitewater is more than just being part of the Army. It's also about being active members in our community and coming together to form a family atmosphere. Anyone who wants to be a part of something bigger than themselves while developing themselves professionally should consider UW-Whitewater ROTC. To sign up for UW-Whitewater ROTC, go to the 4th floor of McCutcheon Hall to room 417.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the quarantine edition of Inside Warhawk Football. I'm your host, Sammy Huggins, and alongside me is head football coach Kevin Bowles. Coach, how are you today?
Doing fantastic, Sammy.
So we talked about the weather last week, how cold it was, and with the snow, it changed how practices went. Now we're getting a little bit of a break with the sun and the warmth coming up. It's pretty much a nice break into the weather when we don't generally get this in November. How long will practices go since we usually have football into December?
You know, we got 1 week left, Sammy, in the sense of what we call our true practices. So as we've talked about in the past, we're in split practices right now. And so, I mean, ultimately, we're finishing up this week, which is going to be fantastic weather. We'll continue to train with our guys, and it'll take on a different format. And we'll ramp up the lifting model portion of it, because this is our off season in the way we look at it. So big part of off season is practicing, but a huge part of it is developing muscle mass.
Wisconsin has seen quite a few spikes in COVID cases. This has even affected the Badgers team, especially the quarterback. The Big Ten has also seen quite a few other football players get COVID cases as well. We talked about last week the excitement of the Big Ten being back, but now due to the health concerns, do you think the Big Ten's decision to come back was premature?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I would say this. I'm not the expert on it by any means, and so, I mean, for me to speculate is probably not very fair. The thing I guess I would say is, what are the percentages of positive COVID tests? If they're below what the national average is, which it appears to be below the national average, then it's what it is, that there was opportunity for somebody to get COVID. Obviously, it makes a big splash when it's the quarterback. Kind of my piece of it is that are you able to control it and work and be safe? And that's the important thing. The Badgers are being candid and they're being forthright, and that's what you have to do at this time.
Well, thank you for being here today, Coach, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
We'll see you then, Sammy.
That was the quarantine edition of Inside Warhawk Football on UWW-TV.
Welcome back to Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption of Sports from Your Regular Daily Schedule. Two young teams in the American League Central have made a coaching change. The Detroit Tigers signed A.J. Hinch after Ron Gardenhire retired in September. The Chicago White Sox, on the other hand, signed Hall of Famer Tony La Russa after deciding to part ways with Rick Renteria after a disappointing postseason. Which of these two managers do you guys think will have the bigger impact on their team?
Well, I got to say it's got to be Tony La Russa. He has the most experience, and I think most of these older coaches, they come into this new analytic style of baseball. But I definitely think he's gonna slide in and make that transition easier, because throughout his coaching career, he's dealt with the type of players that either hit home runs or hit fly balls. Like, for example, he had Mark McGwire on the A's when he won that championship. But then later, when he transitioned into St. Louis, he even made the decision to trade for McGwire on an expiring contract, even when McGwire was very verbal about wanting to go to Anaheim. So I think that just shows that he really shows those home run hitters, and that's the type of hitters that we have this year, and even Albert Pujols.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, Austin. This is a guy who's got over 2,700 career wins, third most in MLB history. He's going to bring a lot of veteran presence in that clubhouse to guys like Tim Anderson, Jose Abreu, and Luis Robert, who is a Rookie of the Year finalist. This is a team that's coming off of the postseason, making the postseason since a long time. And this team is poised and ready to win now. They have young energy with a veteran manager. They're going to do well next season.
You know, I think Detroit is a city that needs a good professional baseball team back in their just to work overall. I think A.J. Hinch is that answer. I think that regardless of what the sign stealing scandal and all that stuff that happened with A.J. Hinch 2 years ago, I still think that he's the answer because he has more recent success than Tony La Russa does.
Yeah, that's a good point, Sam. But to your point, Ron Gardenhire, who they're leaving missing after 3 seasons, he was such a player's manager. He was a type of guy that got players to play harder and go to their full potential. And then coming back to a guy like A.J. Hinch, who's coming off that scandal, it just brings morale in the locker room down, especially for such a young team.
But if you're Chicago and you have a team that you take, like if you're Tony La Russa or the manager before them, if you take and you fire your manager after having their best season in 12 years, why would you even do that?
Because they want to improve and they want to get better. They want to get further into the playoffs and have World Series aspirations because they're the team to do it. If they add a piece here or another starting pitcher there, they have the capability of doing it. Unlike the Detroit Tigers, who only have Miguel Cabrera and who else, I think that the Detroit Tigers haven't had a winning season since 2016.
Yeah, I agree, Matt. And I think to your point, it shows that. It just shows that Detroit hasn't had the power. Miguel Cabrera has been their cornerstone, and he's still there with the team. And I think they need a guy that can get them to turn that team around more and get into the newer aspect and have Miguel Cabrera be more of the mentor type than being a star player.
Well, guys, I think the reason the Tigers will be AL Central champs, mark my words, in the next 5 years is because of the leadership and mentality that Hinch brings to this team. It doesn't matter. I mean, you look at what happened with the Tigers, or the Astros when he went over there. They didn't have a very solid team around them, but somehow they were able to come and make it to 2 World Series in 3 years. That's pretty exceptional.
Yeah, but you go to the point. A.J. Hinch, I don't know if he's going to be the likable guy. We saw this year all these Astro players getting intentionally hit. I just think that it's going to be hard to bring in someone into your locker room that everyone around the league probably dislikes.
And next up, we're going to discuss COVID-19 in college football. After that, we'll discuss our predictions for this week. Please excuse the commercial break.
Here at UW-Whitewater Intramural Sports, we have a motto: a sport for everyone and everyone in a sport.
Come on! Stepped it anyways. Oh, she got that off, and they're going to count it.
Had a blast. Always have fun at intramurals.
Every day we strive to go above and beyond that goal by providing healthy exercise, promoting leisure education, and giving students that competitive atmosphere they are looking for.
Yeah.
It's exciting. Brings me back to those high school days with Friday Night Lights.
With our 25 different intramural sports offered, we guarantee that we have a sport for you. Go to our website and find your sport today.
The UC can get you connected to all your basic needs. Grab a coffee and a meal. Study by the fireplace. Bowl, play, and relax when you want a break from homework. The UC has much more to offer to Whitewater students. Go to the UC's website to see what's going on this week.
UWW-TV has been an important part of the campus and community since 1980.
Not only providing on-air learning opportunities for broadcast journalists and electronic media production students,
but educating and entertaining our audiences with award-winning news, live sports coverage, original programming,
as well as dedicating the mission to developing creative collaborations throughout campus.
For more information, visit our website, our 24/7 stream, and like us on Facebook.
Check us out because you gotta see what's on UWW-TV.
Video One Media Services provides accomplished students the opportunity to enhance their college experience by working with real-world clients. In addition, we provide clients local and affordable video options to better enhance their media needs. For more information on how Video One Media Services can help you with your next media project, email or call our office at 262-472-5659.
Hello, I'm Dominic Ottens, and this is your UWW-TV Sports Update. The Minnesota Vikings defeated the Green Bay Packers 28-22 on Sunday, and now have a record of 2-5. The Vikings will play at home against the Detroit Lions this Sunday at noon. Chicago Bears lost in overtime to the New Orleans Saints on Sunday 26-23, who now have a record of 5-3. The Bears will travel to Tennessee to play the Titans this Sunday at noon. The Green Bay Packers will have a short week coming up after the loss to Minnesota, as they travel to San Francisco and play the 49ers on Thursday Night Football. The Packers still hold first place in the division at 5-2. And we'll have more sports for you right after this.
At the University Bookstore, we have an excellent selection of competitively priced books and classroom necessities for students. We have Warhawk gear ranging from athletic apparel to comfy sweatshirts the whole family can enjoy. The textbook rental service is also available for students to check out their required readings for class. You can also find and order books, apparel, and gift items from our online catalog, located at uwwhitewaterbookstore.com. The University Bookstore. We provide for your college experiences.
The Michigan State Spartans pulled off an upset of 23rd ranked Michigan on Saturday, 27-23. Spartans are now 1-1 on the season and will play Iowa this Saturday. The Minnesota Golden Gophers dropped to 0-2 on the season after losing to Maryland 45-44. The Gophers will play at 0-2 Illinois this Saturday. The Northwestern Wildcats took down Iowa on Saturday 21-20 and moved to 2-0 on the young Big Ten season. The Wildcats will welcome Nebraska to Evanston this Saturday. For more updates, stay tuned to UWW-TV. Check us out at uwwtv.org or tune into the 24-hour stream service at reslife.uw.edu/stream. I'm Dominic Ottens, and this has been your sports update on UWW-TV.
Welcome back to Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption of Sports from your regular daily schedule. High-profile college players are being forced to sit out after testing positive for COVID-19. For example, Wisconsin Badger quarterback Graham Mertz is still serving his 21-day quarantine after receiving a positive test. Also, potential #1 overall draft pick Trevor Lawrence tested positive and will have to miss one of the most anticipated games of the year this Saturday against Notre Dame. Is the NCAA handling this pandemic correctly?
I think they are, and I think they're doing enough to where they can keep the season going. And this is more on the players, and I think that they're having to make sure that they sacrifice, especially for this season, to make sure that they don't go out and they don't catch the virus. Because this is preventable, because we see Justin Fields in Ohio State, other teams across the nation be able to have no cases and they're able to play all the games on their schedule. And we see that this is going to be put on the athletes and the coaches to make sure they put the discipline in that locker room to make sure that they prevent the spread and the outbreaks of COVID-19.
Come on, Matt. You really telling me you think it's fair that Graham Mertz gets COVID-19 and has to sit out 21 days while you have Trevor Lawrence that gets it and has to sit out 10 days? I think that something has to be changed to where the NCAA has one combined thing to make it fair for college football and getting into the playoffs. I just don't think it's fair that an 11-day difference between when someone can come back after getting it.
Yeah, I think you're kind of losing it, Matt, here. I think the NCAA needs a commissioner that will oversee all the conferences and not necessarily based off their region. That's why I think there needs to have not so many varying policies across the board for it to be able to be done.
Yes, but I also think that it's going to be different case by cases, and I think that with the different conferences handling it, you're going to make sure that each one is handled differently. Each conference has different resources to put in place, and with different athletes come different conferences, and each cases are going to be different, so you're going to need the varying degrees of how conferences handle it.
But you said that they have varying degrees or varying resources. Honestly, you don't think Ohio State makes the same amount of money that teams like LSU do? I definitely think they have the same resources.
I have to agree with Sam. I think they have the resources necessary, and I just think, and because in that policy it talks about the Big Ten, even if they have a negative test after 11 days, which is the CDC guideline, I think, and then they still can't play for 21 days, it just does not make sense to me, Matt.
Next up, we'll have our predictions for the biggest games of the week. We'll be back after the break.
What does it mean to be a Warhawk?
It means allowing myself to dream big and think outside the box.
Pushing the limits of what I think is possible.
Seeing ideas through from start to finish.
Collaborating with professors and peers.
And seizing opportunities in the community to put my knowledge to use.
I'm studying abroad,
learning another language,
and listening to the stories of others.
I'm making lifelong friends and fearlessly sharing my gifts with the world.
As a Warhawk, I stay balanced,
take great care of myself,
and get out of my comfort zone.
I refuse to let the past determine my future.
And I'm taking confident steps in the direction of my dreams.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
And other times it couldn't be more exciting.
But I will keep my goals in mind
and never quit.
Because
that's the Warhawk way.
Turn us on. Flip them off. 91.7 WSUW. 91.7 is a student-run radio station serving the Whitewater area with a variety of original programs, live sports broadcasting, community events, and more. So turn us on. 91.7 FM or stream us live at 917theedge.com.
It has been taking away our potential for decades, but since 2009, campuses nationwide are becoming tobacco-free. Tobacco has been eliminated from bars, restaurants, and many other public places. Why should our schools be any different? For more information, visit the Ambrose Health Center.
UW Whitewater Athletics, a relentless pursuit of excellence across 22 sports, powered by a tradition of success. 20 national championships, 17 since 2002. 61 individual national titles. 24 National Athletes of the Year. 616 All-Americans. 115 Conference Scholar Athletes of the Year. 1,500 community service hours annually. Be a part of the tradition and join the Warhawk family.
Welcome to the University Bookstore. The University Bookstore provides students with the opportunity to purchase apparel, gift items, textbooks, snacks, supplies, and other necessities right here on campus. The bookstore is also home to textbook rental, where you can find many of your required textbooks. Our friendly staff always goes the extra mile to provide customers with a quick and pleasant experience. Visit the bookstore today to find great deals on everything you need to succeed as a Warhawk.
Welcome back to the show. Now we're going to give our predictions for the biggest events this week. Two potential college football playoff teams face off this weekend. Who do you guys think will win in this big matchup, the Clemson Tigers or the Notre Dame Fighting Irish?
I'm going to have to go with the underdog here. I'm going to go with the Fighting Irish, and I think it's because Trevor Lawrence is out, and I think the experienced head coach is going to have to get it going. I think that Brian Kelly is going to have the 10-year veteran head coach at Notre Dame. He's going to get their guys going, and they've got a veteran quarterback, veteran defense. They got everything they need. I think they know this is the game they have to go on.
Speaking of experienced head coaches, how about Dabo Swinney and the recruiting that he's done? Trevor Lawrence is out, #1 overall pick in next year's draft, and he brings in another 5-star recruit. And it's just other aspects, getting it done for Clemson. I got Clemson Tigers beating the Fighting Irish.
Guys, I do not think the luck will be with the Irish this weekend, and the reason of that is because Travis Etienne, he's a great running back for the Clemson Tigers. I like what he does. I think this game will be won in the trenches and on the running attack for both teams. So we got 4 drivers, 1 cup for the NASCAR Playoff Championship this Sunday. Who will take home the hardware?
I'm going to have to go with the Ford and Joey Logano. He's had good experience at Phoenix. He even won this past March. I think he's going to show up strong and get the win.
Yeah, I agree with you. 1 in 2018, he's got some momentum going. He showed great promise in the round of 8. As you said, Austin won earlier at Phoenix. He's got great experience there. Joey Logano.
I have number 9, Chase Elliott, this weekend, and that's because he has the most momentum, I think, going into this last race. And lastly, we have the Seahawks versus the Bills. Who do you guys think wins in this big matchup?
I'm going to have to go with Seattle here. I think they got more weapons around their star quarterback, like DK Metcalf. I just don't see that firepower over in Buffalo.
Yeah, I think Russell Wilson has been lighting it up this year in the league, and Buffalo has had holes in the defense. They've had weaknesses, and they showed it in the previous matchup this Sunday versus Buffalo last week when Buffalo lost to the Patriots by 3. I think Russell Wilson and the Seahawks win easily.
I agree. Russell the Muscle's going to take it home. That will do it for us here tonight. Thank you for watching, and tune in next time to hear more hot takes all around the world of sports. This has been Please Excuse Our Momentary Interruption of Sports from your regular daily schedule on UWW-TV.